wanted to talk a little bit about this movie. Actually, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I didn't really want to talk about it. If anything, I wanted to talk about real cinema, like the Angry Birds movie, or movies from that German fellow, Ball. But no, they said that I had to talk about this movie, and while it wasn't a masterpiece, I certainly enjoyed it because, well, I like to perceive that it mostly agreed with my point of view on things. How I Saved the President is a 1996 straight-to-video film courtesy of the Utah-based Mormon film company Feature Films for Families, certainly to be up there with other beloved names like Jeremiah Films, Pure Flix, Angel Studios, PragerU, Fox News, though apparently they faced legal trouble from the FTC, the DOJ, and even Verizon, on accounts of pocketing donation money, sending fraudulent survey calls to those who were on the no-call list for telemarketers, and spam calls for 10 days straight. Now I ask you, why would you want to possibly send legal action against the same company that made such beloved titles like the Buttercream Gang? While not active past the early 2000s, the company finally closed its doors in late 2024. But they did get an endorsement from the Dove Foundation, you know, the true mark of quality. But some may also want to note the director, Linda Shane. While she got her start in acting roles in films like Screwballs, some movie I've never seen where she played a character named Bootsy Goodhead, she's mostly known for her directorial talents for such titles like The Purple People Eater and Flying Ryan. Well now, with such examples of good quality content, let's see how this film is sure to become a true American classic. This is How I Saved the President. We begin by switching between a house in a very upscale neighborhood and an army base, with some recruits marching and training. The house being owned by the Anderson family, the father and husband being a former Secretary of State played by William Christopher Atherton McDonald. Because of his career and rather powerful position, he and his family clearly have connections, like this woman who they call Clyde because that's her last name. Oh no, are you telling me that Feature Films for Families have also succumbed to the woke mind virus too? I mean, come on now, people. We all know that Clyde is supposed to be a man's name, and she's clearly supposed to be a woman. Interestingly, this character is played by the mother from that drive-thru movie I looked at last year. In this movie, she's a member of the CIA who is put in charge of looking after our main character, Max, the son of the Andersons, played by confirmed for Jumanji. His unique ability in this children's film is he's able to speak to animals like his pet dog and cat.
You get dressed, and then we'll discuss it over breakfast.
Now she's speaking my language.
Bo, put in my order for some of that liver pate. It's divine.
Now you might be wondering, how is this possible? Did he get bonked on the head, or possibly drank some kind of science serum that gave him this ability? Nope, they never go into how exactly he got this ability. I don't know. Maybe we could see it as a blessing from the Lord himself. That's right, God bestowed Max with the ability to speak directly to animals. At least that's how I'm going to perceive it. And if you have a problem with that, then clearly you're a terrible person and you're going to hell because you simply disagreed with me. By the way, the cat is played by Victoria Jackson. I mostly know her because my uncle likes her politics. Though, I guess some of you may know her from things like Snell and YouTube.
In other words, before she became a politically brain-rotted nutcase, like Christine.
The conflict we get this early in the movie is Max's parents think he's a little Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs because he talks to animals, and they suggest that he should maybe talk to a therapist. Herm, I thought this was a Christian movie. After all, Max, you don't need the earthly medications or the words of a mere mortal doctor. Don't you realize? When it comes to certain things like that, you can simply pray all those things away when you need to. Also, if you look into the matter, you would clearly know that all the medical establishment are in the pockets of the filthy far-left Democrats.
You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife.
Hey, Max. Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
As everyone heads off for their day, Clyde drives Max and his friend Buzzy. Yes, that's apparently what her name is in this film. to school in a station wagon. The most secretive of Secret Service getaway vehicles, I assure you. Once they get to school, we see Max is picked on by some bullies. Because it's a children's film from the 1990s, of course there's some bullies.
Look, if it isn't a little rich kid and his stupid friend.
Oh, come on now. That's incredibly unrealistic. I mean, who could possibly hate someone simply because they're rich? When my parents were growing up, they said that all the rich kids were practically the most popular kids in school. And I'm going to have to take their word for it because I never went to public school. Ever. I was homeschooled.
And of course, this is one of those kids' movie schools where there are no teachers around when these bigger kids are chasing after smaller kids in the hallways. Leave it to Jan Levinson from The Office to show up to pick him up later that day and scare the bullies off.
And that's the last time we see the bullies. Yeah, they never come back in any shape or form in this film. Well, those characters sure accomplished a lot. After Clyde drops them off at home, Max spends the rest of his afternoon at the local park where he plays fetch with his dog Bo. That is until a female dog with a French accent runs in, trying to get away from these two shady-looking men in dark coats.
What do you think you're doing?
Why don't you keep your dog on a leash, you stupid boy?
You've got no right to hit my dog.
Be careful, Max.
Trouble, son?
That man tried to hit my dog with his stick. Let's arrest him.
He seems all right.
He wouldn't have been if he hadn't fought back.
You know, technically, it's a violation for any dog to be on park property without a leash. I think we can overlook it this time. Why don't you just take your pooch and head on home?
While on their way home, Bo and Max talk about how suspicious those two men were. So, when he gets home, he tries to tell his father about the potential threat.
I was in the park today, and there were these guys. Foreign guys.
Foreign guys.
Yeah, not American, with accents, and they're practicing with guns.
Whoa, be careful, Max. You want to make sure that the left doesn't hear that. They might call you racist or something. Although, I guess that doesn't really work for this example since the terrorists are a bunch of Europeans. Maybe they're supposed to be Russian or German, maybe. It's some kind of European. They never really specify in the movie. After realizing Max doesn't have any proof, quote-unquote, and just chalks it up to more of his talking to pets shenanigans, Max meets up with Buzzy later, who asks if it's possible for him to teach her how to speak to animals.
Do you think you could teach me how to hear them? Well, Nellie says it's kind of like a gift, and you can't learn it. And don't try to convince anyone else either. They'll just think you're crazy.
And that's the last they really get into that. He can just speak to animals and they expect you not to question how he obtained this ability. Even for a simple kids movie, they can't give any real reason how he can do that.
Ariel, please, will you stop looking too deep into this film marketed towards children? Silly people. Anyway, as I was saying, the left... He returned to the park to see if those men are back, and of course they are. Apparently, these terrorists only meet to discuss their plots in local parks and golf courses. Their French dog runs off again, and manages to give Bo a special medallion that belongs to the bad men.
Excuse me, miss, but who are they trying to kill?
Your boy, he has a gift, he understands.
Yeah, that's Max, he's cool.
It's frightening to think about these terrible men and their unspeakable crime.
So now it's up to our heroes to keep this away from the bad guys. This leads to a chase scene.
A chase scene in which two grown-ass men get outwitted by a couple of kids and a dog. Keep in mind, this is just the beginning of the movie being one of those poor man-ass Home Alone type movies, where adults get their asses handed to them by children.
Sir,
The parents decide to send Max to a psychiatrist after he tries to tell them about the bad men once again. So with his own parents not believing him, Max decides to write a letter to the president to warn him about what those men are up to. The next day, we see that the father is leaving to go to a business trip, and Max's letter gets into the hands of the government. After that, we see Clyde dropping Max off for his psychiatrist appointment.
To an extent, I can't see why someone with a job like Secretary of State would have bodyguards and want to protect his family. But I must ask, why doesn't the mom take Max to these places? As far as I can tell, she seems to stay at home so she could easily do this stuff herself.
Once Max heads up to see the psychiatrist, it's very apparent that he doesn't believe Max can really talk to animals, despite telling him that he believes him. Max knows he's lying because the doctor says he can also talk to his dog, who's eating an orange in the scene for some reason. But according to Bo, that dog can't even talk.
Not all animals can talk, Max. Some dogs, cats, and cows are just born mute. No one knows why. The only exceptions are parakeets, raccoons, and ravens. I've never seen a parakeet that could talk. They're really dumb. Raccoons are clever, but they're too mean to talk. And as for ravens, I've never met one that couldn't talk, and if you tell them how smart they are, then they'll blab your ear off.
Remember that. That's going to be important way later on in the movie.
What? Oh.
Max Anderson, hold it right there, son.
After this minor misunderstanding, these men reveal they work for the Secret Service, and they tell Max that his letter could have gotten him in a heap of trouble, and writing a letter like that is no laughing matter. So clearly, Max is more than a little stressed since his parents, his doctor, and apparently his own government do not believe him. But time for more wacky shenanigans as the bad guys show up at the door disguised as electricity workers.
If you have any gas or electrical appliances on, I suggest you turn them off.
Wait here while I turn off the stove.
And apparently, it takes her a good 5 minutes to turn off the stove, since she doesn't hear all the destruction going on in the living room, as the bad guys try to attack her son, and it's up to the cat and the dog to stop them. Seriously, these parents suck. His pets and Clyde are better caretakers.
Now, all the years of doing these videos, and I've never questioned it up until this point, but I just have to ask, does anyone else find it strange that the llama is talking? But once the mom discovers the mess in the living room, and after hearing Max tell her what's happened, she thinks it's just more of his supposed delusions. So she grounds him and calls for a kennel to take the pets away. So leave it to Clyde to answer Max's call, and she agrees to help him get them back and embark on a magical adventure of wonder and whimsy to save the president.
Please, God, take care of Bo and Nellie and the president, too.
You see, this is the kind of wholesome family entertainment that the mainstream just can't handle with all of you brainless sheeple, instead replacing it with blatant leftist woke propaganda. Although, that being said, this is the only scene in the movie that has any kind of religious symbolism at all. I'm a little surprised by that, considering this is a Mormon film company that we're talking about here. I must say, I haven't seen this much of a lack of religious symbolism in a supposed Christian movie since Sunday School Musical. So Clyde works her way to the kennel, and while pretending to be an inspector, she lies to the man on duty that some kind of contagion broke out, and that a certain dog and cat must be taken for further investigation. Meanwhile, the bad guys return and drug the mother with a needle to keep her knocked out while they abduct Max. Realizing that Max has been taken away, Clyde is on the case to find him, with the aid of the pets who manage to help her a great deal despite not being able to speak directly to her. Meanwhile, the terrorists tell Max their plan and proceed to just leave him locked in a room while they go to do it, instead of just game-ending him right then and there. Clearly, these guys have never seen a real James Bond film before.
Much like yourself?
Ha 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 ha! Shut your mouth.
My dog told me all ravens could talk. I guess he was wrong. And it's a pity, too, because you look like a very smart bird.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I do like to think of myself as one of the more intelligent animals.
You see, I told you that ravens would come back later in the movie. They set that up at the beginning, and they finally paid it off at the end. With the help from that raven, a bunch of dogs manage to overpower the thugs guarding the door and get Max out of there. It's here where he is rescued by Clyde, and the two of them, the cat, the dog, and the whole barrage of dogs, get out of there. But there's still the matter of stopping the assassination attempt. For you see, the terrorists have disguised themselves as caterers, only to get past security, knock out a man working the spotlight, and are about ready to shoot the president from the crowd. But once Max and the animals get in there with the aid of Clyde, they show up just in the nick of time to stop the shooting as Bo the dog jumps in front of the bullet and takes the shot, while Clyde jumps on the president to save him. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa now, I was not expecting this movie to go there. I mean, after all, this film was made for children, right? I wasn't expecting us to get to the point where a dog was actually going to jump in front of a bullet to save the president. I guess you could argue they were trying not to spoil anything, but if Bo is the one that ended up saving the president by taking the bullet, then why didn't they call this movie How My Dog Saved the President? Or for that matter, why didn't they call it How My Bodyguard Saved the President, since Clyde was the one that jumped on top of the president to make sure he didn't get hit?
Oh, but it's okay though. We jump forward just a month later where we see that Max, the dog, the cat, and yes, even Clyde, are rewarded for their bravery, courage, and sacrifices they've made to help protect their country.
Now, instead of ending this like I typically would by giving a final thoughts on the film, I am actually going to be reading the 4 bullet points that are directly aimed at the parental guidance groups. Question 1. Clyde takes an assignment she's not happy with because her job requires it. What have you done that you didn't want to do, but did anyway because you knew it was right? Well, me personally, I feel like I've had it harder than any other human being possibly has ever had it before. I have spent my entire life going around telling people that they're wrong because they don't agree with me or because they think that I'm wrong whenever I do something, like assert myself into situations that aren't even any of my business. But typical people, typical humanists of the world these days. Question 4. Clyde jumps in front of the president to save him. What can you do to help protect your family? Very excellent question, and I think this country was founded on asking good questions. And with good questions should come good answers. And I think once we find those answers, we should definitely be front and center to tell them to the rest of the world. And that, my friends, is how we're going to do things.
Way to not even directly answer the question, buddy.
Just shut your mouth, Ariel. You always have to be difficult and disagree with me. Jeez. I guarantee you don't give Peter Collins this much of a hard time because you two probably agree with your far leftist ideology.
Not true at all. I judge you both evenly because you both have a tendency to be insufferable pricks.
Anyways, that's about it. See ya.
So, Tim, can I give you some more milk?
No, thanks. I'll have some more milk, Oopsie.